Welcome to the Darkstream. Hang on a second. Are we on here? Yeah, we are. Welcome to the Darkstream. Vox Day, voxday.net, and unauthorized.tv. This is the Hurricane Emotional Support Edition. So just to everybody in Florida, I don't know if you're watching this. I don't know if you have power or not, but we're all sympathetic. Hoping things go well for you, and hoping everybody is going to be okay. I've talked to the legend Chuck Dixon. He's ready, as you'd expect. We got some of the Infogalactic team is down there. They appear to be taking advantage of the shift in the storm's direction. So hopefully they're going to be all right. And I know they're all prepped. I've got family down there. They actually had to get evacuated, but they're in what should be a good, safe spot. So, you know, hopefully people are sufficiently prepared, and hopefully things will go. Leif is in North Tampa here. Leif, how are things there? Give us a report. Are you starting to see signs of the winds and rain and all that, or do you still have a bit of time? Either way, everybody's pulling for you. So, Swedish Trash Pan says Elon Musk will make a killing selling satellite internet now. Quite possibly. Windy and lots of rain, gusts. Fair enough. How long? What's the ETA before the more serious stuff hits? Nothing too bad yet, like a strong storm. Yeah. You know, we lived on the first coast of Florida for 2 years. We never actually had a hurricane hit while we were there. Although after we sold our place, the people were kind of annoyed because we sold it at just the right time. Not only in terms of where the market was, but because about 6 months later, a hurricane hit it and ripped the roof off. It did a bunch of damage. So, but we had our philosophy was leave early, declare a B&B week, pack up the dogs and go. Obviously, not everybody can do that. And to be honest, literally nobody that I know in Florida did. So, you know, maybe there's something different to growing up with hurricanes versus growing up with tornadoes. You know, it was always ominous when you'd go outside, yeah, and you'd think, oh, maybe there's a storm coming or something. You go outside and then suddenly everything got really still, and the sky would turn this ominous shade of green, and that was your warning that tornadoes were on the way. So we got pretty fortunate with tornadoes too. The first year we were married, a tornado hit our neighborhood and 2 neighborhoods over where our friends were, and it just basically the tornado ripped apart a few houses and trees, and then just basically hopped up and jumped over our neighborhood. So that was very fortunate. Leif says, in a 300-unit apartment building, at least 90% sticking it out. All right, well, much respect. You know, the check in. You know, shoot. Are you on Social Galactic, Leif? I think you might be. If you are, you know, hop in when the power comes back on and let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you on a Darkstream in the next few days. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. That's why I wasn't actually planning to stream tonight. And then I realized, you know what? If you're sitting there waiting for a storm to hit or whatever, maybe it's good to know that people around the world are cheering for you. So, okay. I'd like to be subscribed to UATV, but never got a login for SG. Okay, shoot me an email. you've probably been invited, but it probably got lost in spam or something. Um, that's such a known problem now that uh, I was I was buying something. I don't remember where. Oh no, I know. I was looking at one of our rival publishers' websites, and they actually have a thing where you sign up for your newsletter, and they're like, look, because there's a good chance that you might not get it. Um, here's something else you can sign up for that increases your chances. Kind of like what we've done with Substack. So, um, anyhow, um, just make sure if you are a an authorized subscriber and you haven't got and you don't have access to Social Galactic, uh, email support at unauthorized.tv and they'll hook you up. So let me put that in here. Support at unauthorized.tv. Okay. So yeah, I'm actually wearing, I don't know if you can see, I'm wearing the new Dorking shirt, thanks to NDM Express and Noel, who designed it. And not only was it cool, but they the club itself really liked it. In fact, they specifically requested that for the crowdfund for the 25th anniversary book, they wanted to have a special thing or two that people could also get if they wanted to back the crowdfund. So they actually requested a special version of this that has 1999 to 2024 added to it. So I thought that was a nice compliment to our design team that the club actually actually liked our t-shirts better than the ones that they're doing. STL, did you see the new Booster Patrol video? No, I did not. JHB had forgotten the song until Blue Stem sent it. Which song was it? And shouldn't you be finishing up a song soon? 2 Acre North Dakota Bear ordered the UATV shirt and hoodie and Bertaria swag. Nice work, NDM. Excellent. Yeah, big game actually this week for Dorking. You know, the team that should be at the top of the table is playing the team that is the top of the table, is at the top of the table. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Hopefully, it'd be nice to get a win. They looked really good on Saturday. The team. What I was really happy about is the team adjusted its tactics and started playing like we know the other team is going to park the bus, as they say in English football, or catenaccio, as those of us who play Italian style would say. Although it's interesting, you might not know this, but catenaccio, it means chain, and it's very famous for being the way that the Italian teams play, and they still play that way to this day. When I played in the Italian region for a few years, and then after we left there, I was shocked to find out how many more goals got scored. I thought it was just like European football, much more defensive oriented, much better defenses. Turns out it's just the Italians. But the interesting thing is it was actually created by a Swiss coach who coached FC Basel and the Swiss national team, and then the Italians borrowed it from him, or took it from him. The Swiss still basically play that way. Build from the back, put your best players on defense, leave one attacker high, and hope that it's a really good strategy for a team that can't control the ball as well as its opponents. If you've got less talent, it's a smart way to play. The problem Dorking has been having is that their opponents have been playing that way, but Dorking wasn't really ready for it. they were still expecting people to come out and play, to contest the midfield and so forth, and they just weren't. So, but now it's pretty clear, you know, they're not just sending in 50 crosses a game to no avail. Now they're taking shots from outside the box, driving in hard. So it's been interesting to see. Sam is a good one. He says, Italians have been using Swiss defenses since the Swiss Guard. This is true. This is absolutely true. So is somebody going to send me the link to the, Rachel, could you send me the link to the Booster Patrol video? I can pop it in. Here, let's take a look and see where we are. As you're aware, we're doing the Hypergamos crowdfund. And just today, after it hit 50K, actually slightly before, I cheated, but it wasn't an official stretch goal, but a number of people were saying that they really wanted us to do a leather version of the Sigma game book. So we're going to do that. We've done that. It's not Library Libraria, just to be clear. And so, thanks, Rachel. And then, but there is a very expensive goatskin version. It's a lettered edition, 1 of 26. Hey, I got a little puppy here visiting me. Our new little friend. And anyhow, and then the other one is basically kind of like a Cowhide, Castelia history, general level sort of thing. So these are both going to be limited editions. I think we're doing 250 of the one and 26 of the lettered version, obviously. Although we'll do what's necessary, as it were. Wow. I need a gas mask or something here. He really let it rip. This is one of the frustrating things about dogs. They don't really pay much attention to. Hey, I'm doing a stream. No, go lay down. Go. Go. You're not going out right now. Go. He doesn't understand at all. The other dogs do. He's like, well, just go. Go lay down. You're not going out now. Go. Out. So I may be paying for that by having to clean something up here, which would not be good. But anyhow, actually, I probably should take them out. Tell you what, let's fire up the video and then I can run them outside. That might work, hopefully. Let's see if this works. Okay, copy link address. Again, we're just going to experiment with this. Don't know if it'll work. Okay, Hypergamos is at 57. Very good. But let's skip that and go here. Before you continue, reject all. Oh, okay. I know which one this one is. So let's pause it. Let's go full screen on this, actually, can we? Yeah, we'll put it up on top for now. And turn on the default speakers. And we'll see if this works. And then I shall return after it.
Read my lips, I'm into you, can't resist, you're so hot. Get me into the shade, the spotlight's on, you creep into it, you like it, and just the way that you dance, just the way that you dance. Yeah, yeah, it's enough to love you, baby. Yeah, 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 it's enough to send me crazy. Yeah, yeah, such an angelic motion. Yeah, 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 you know you're made in heaven. The way you walk, the rhythm when you're dancing, every inch of you spells out desire. It's such a rush, the rush is never ending.
Yeah, I think wow is an appropriate term for that. Let's go back. There we go. I actually quite like that. I quite like that particular cover. I think it's one of our better ones. In fact, John, we really need to get that one up on Spotify too. You know, one of the things that I want to do differently on Spotify than on YouTube is I want to keep. I only want to put the best stuff up there. You know, keep the quality level high, as it were, rather than just throwing up absolutely everything we do. But yeah, I was a little surprised when I first suggested that one to John, and he was like, "Okay," uh, and then I was really blown away with how we managed to rock it up, because it's not easy. There was this brief moment in the late '80s when there were some fast-paced pop dance songs that would bring in guitar. Um, I think Taylor Dane had one. Um, but there weren't very many. I mean, we're talking like maybe 6 or 7 that hit the pop charts that did that effectively. But I always thought that it would be an effective, um, a really effective mode of music. Um, I mean, it's a lot of fun. Like like I said, it's a fun tune. There's just an energy to that kind of music, and John really managed to recapture that sort of late '80s energetic electronic dance stuff, but also rock guitar. Um, I always think that that's a great combination, um, and you can see in that song why it works. So, and then I was kind of wondering about whether Rachel would really be able to sing that one effectively, because let's face it, Kylie Minogue is not known for having a particularly strong voice, right? But it was interesting because when after Rachel did it, she sent me a note and said, she's got more respect now for Kylie Minogue than she did before, because she didn't realize how the song was actually more difficult to sing than she had thought. And it is something that sometimes catches you by surprise. Sometimes what you think is going to be difficult to sing isn't. I was surprised at. I mean, obviously there were some effects involved, but I was surprised at how well we were able to do More Human Than Human, White Zombie, and then how difficult it was to, and frankly, I don't think my vocal ever really got there, to do the Disturbed song that we did. Um, so you never know. Sometimes you just have to. Sometimes you just have to try it, see how it goes, and see what works and what doesn't. I'm a big believer in trying to make sure that the voice happens to suit the song, to suit the style. But your mileage may vary and so forth. But yeah, that was Wow, Kylie Minogue, Booster Patrol. Probably definitely one of my 10 favorites that we do. Is the doggy relieved? Well, the doggy is not bothering me anymore. So yeah, yeah. Dave Draymond is really, really good. His vocal quality is really good. He's a really good singer, but he's also I would say he's an even better writer. The way that he writes the stuff and brings in that lyrical syncopation is not easy at all. I've never really tried to do it, but just trying to get things to flow properly, to flow nicely. I'm a little sad that the best lyrical flow that I've ever achieved was in our Scott Adams song, and it's pretty vulgar. I mean, the whole song is extremely vulgar, but even that part where you've got the perfect flow, I still argue that, which is a bit ironic, because what I think is one of the greatest lyrical flows of all time is the Bloodhound Gang, and the I wish I were gay so I could get chicks. They've got this 4-line lyric that just flows absolutely perfectly, and it's not poetic at all, but it is you can't deny it. You just can't deny how well it works. Some people just have that gift. I wish I did. I don't. I can do it occasionally, but that's the thing that I personally think is a lot of fun with Suno is you get the chance to experiment with a lot of different lyrics, and they make it a lot easier to try different approaches to the same set of words. Swedish Trash Panda says Bloodhound Gang is too talented given the crassness of their music. Well, yeah, it is really striking. I mean, all of their songs pretty much are very crass, but they're actually quite good. They're quite talented as songwriters. They're better songwriters than a lot of bands that are considered to be more serious. But if you're doing music and that sort of thing, and you're not a producer like the Swedish Bomb Squad or Feral or whatever, where you're just cranking out one pop hit after another, I think there's still a lot of room in music for just doing what you want to do, being yourself, expressing yourself, literally, and that's why I'm I know John would disagree with me, obviously, but that's one of the things that I really do enjoy about the AI stuff is that it just gives you so much more room to experiment, especially if you happen to be less talented when it comes to composition, because as I think just about anyone will tell you, composition is the real challenge. It's very difficult to be a good musician, to play an instrument well. It's also difficult to be technically good, to be able to produce the stuff. But that's different than writing lyrics, and that's also different than composing the music itself. And so to me, I find it fascinating that the people that can maybe rip off a guitar solo, a good guitarist like the guy from the Eagles, whose name, the blonde guy, he came up with the guitar line for Hotel California, but he didn't write the song. He just came up with this guitar line. That was it, because he doesn't have the compositional skill that two of the other members of the band did. Jack Black also has a similar issue. Amazing singer. I don't know if I go that far, but he's better than you think. Amazing singer, but everything he does is a joke. Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I see him as more of a musical comedian than a rock star or something. I mean, part of the problem is that he's short and fat, and he doesn't fit the mode. So no matter how good he is, he's never going to be able to perform in the way that rock stars do. So he has to take and obviously he's a total gamma too. So he has to take the indirect, ironic approach to it. But he's a legitimately good songwriter. He and his buddy. I don't know who's the main songwriter. I would assume the little chubby bald guy, but I don't know. I mean, the one who plays the guitar. It could even be there's somebody else. Pillavender said Jack Black needed to learn when to end on a high note and not go on and on and Um, okay. Are you talking about in a song, or are you talking about performing live? Um, Kyle Fat? Look, text is small. Kyle Fat. Okay, that's an unfortunate name. Um, but yeah, I mean, like the first Tenacious D CD, I had that. Space Bunny got it for me because we both thought that Tribute was absolutely hilarious, and I was shocked to find that the whole CD was good. Oh, his career. No, actors and musicians, they still have to work. You know, I mean, it was funny. I was kind of surprised when I found out how many albums that Enigma had done that I'd never heard of. Because I hadn't really been paying any attention to them. I paid more attention to them than most in that I had both the that that main CD, the one that had Sadness on it, and then I also had the CD after that, which was Cross of Changes, which was very good. But I hadn't really paid attention to them because I kind of, I don't know, I guess I got married and just wasn't. Actually, we got into got heavy into game development and stuff, and so we were mostly working on our own music for the games. It wasn't just like listening to stuff as much, and of course, there was nothing on the radio from Enigma or anything. And it was about, I don't know, 2 years ago that I went and thought, I wonder what if they've done much since. And there's like 8 albums, and I don't know that I've listened to all of them yet, but I know I've listened to at least 4 of them, and all of them are good. You know, in fact, there was one song that I liked enough, "Into the Deep." Booster Patrol actually has a partially done version of that. Although, looking at what we've done, what we can do, what we're doing, um, I would like us to do more. Um, kind of stick more to the stuff that has worked best for us. Stuff like we just played, like wow, the rock covers of songs that you wouldn't necessarily expect there to be rock covers of. I think that is generally where we have our most where our most effective stuff is done. The problem is when you've got a good singer like Rachel, especially, there's always the temptation to just, hey, she sounds great on Republica, right? But it sounds like Republica. So ultimately, what's the point? You know, if you can do something that sounds just like the original, there's no point in doing it. The best to me, the and again, I'm just speaking for myself here. I'm not speaking for anybody else in the band. I'm not speaking for anybody but me. I personally just think that if you're not going to do something new and different with a cover, there's no. I mean, if you want to do it for yourself, fine. I'm not. I mean, John's got, I don't know how many, how many covers that he did on SoundCloud. That's fine, because as a musician, I'm sure that there's a challenge to say, hey, I wonder if I can do that. A lot of musicians get fascinated with that. I remember the guy from ZZ Top said that when he met Prince, the first question he had for him was, how did you get that sound at the beginning of When Doves Cry? He says, I've been trying for 20 years to figure out how to make that sound with my guitar, and I just couldn't do it. Rachel says she agrees. Yes, it's good to bring something new to the table. I just think it is. Again, there's no reason not to do it if you want. If you want to do it, or if you're, the best reason, of course, is we play in a cover band and people give us money to play songs they know at a bar. obviously, do that. But that being said, um, for the stuff that we're going to put on Spotify and that sort of thing, um, it's got to be good, and it's got to be different. That's why, um, we have a number of things up on Spotify, but it's our best stuff. But I do think, John, you should put WoW up there as well. I mean, that's just too good. That's just too good not to be broadly shared, and it's also, as I said, it's very different. But the main thing that hopefully we'll be doing is some of these originals. Um, I think Rachel said she's putting the finishing touches on one. Um, we've got a couple that we've been working on. I think I'm probably delinquent as usual in getting stuff to John. But Nibmeister says there are a lot of YouTube covers that are much better than the originals. Well, sure, because it's a lot easier to work off of something that exists. What's really hard is to create something brand new. That, to me, that's always the challenge that is much more interesting and much more intriguing. I love it when we do something brand new. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this first original that they're doing is going. We've got a couple others, and then there's others that I think I'm just going to, they're not really Booster Patrol style songs that, like maybe we'll just, do them under another name on the, using the AI systems and stuff. There's a lot of possibilities and a lot of ways to have fun with this stuff. So, speaking of having fun and accomplishing stuff, this might be my favorite book that we've ever done. And as you know, it is with extreme difficulty that I don't do all of our books in black goatskin leather with gold. So when we had to redo the missionaries, this is the second edition, the Libraria version, as you can probably see there. Let's see, yeah, Libraria Castalia. Anyhow, I leaped at the chance to get a version in black and gold and fix the one or two typos we had in it. And I mean, it's such a good book. It's such a great book. And, as much as I like the original green first edition, just having the chance to do this in my favorite black, well, let's just say I wasn't going to miss that chance, miss that excuse. So, let's go back and see what we got on the, let's see here, turn this on. Oops. Okay, I need to go somewhere else because that's Walk Like an Egyptian. Apologies, Rachel, but I've never liked that song ever. Let's see here. I'm just not a Bengals fan, to be honest. Okay, it's Kickstarter.com. So we should probably change the size too, huh? There we go. And let's look for Hypergy Mouse. There we are. Illustrated by Lacey Fairchild. All right, we're right where we were before. That is good. So, anyhow, now everybody knows we haven't actually announced it yet on the Sigma Games site. I probably should, and on the Castalia side. It was a hit with the kids, at least. Well, I mean, that's great, but one more. The thing is, you can't be everything to everybody. And so when you're, for example, when you're, whether you're, putting stuff out, putting a single out for the club, putting out a video, putting stuff on Spotify, whatever. One thing that a lot of people don't understand is you can't just keep throwing stuff out there. That doesn't work very well. If you want to make a mark, you're better off doing less stuff, but doing it better. Because there's so much stuff out there. There's so much stuff out there that you kind of need, not necessarily a gimmick per se, but you need to have a hook. Not just musical, but you need to have a conceptual hook. Something for everything is the marketing strategy killing games. Well, that's true. That's true. But that is the challenge that, because for example, the way that the algorithm works on Amazon, your best bet is to dump stuff out there, a book a month, and try to ride the algorithm and hope that Amazon will favor you. On the other hand, if you do it like Brandon Sanderson, you do a crowdfund for 2 very popular books, and that's much, much more successful. Now, obviously, that doesn't work for everybody. Most people don't have that level of success. I certainly haven't. But there's plenty of room for opinions and discussion and disagreement. I don't even know what everybody else thinks. But if you look, for example, at Castalia Library, we are much more successful with Castalia Library than we ever were with Castalia House, even though we published a lot more books with Castalia House. So, but business is a separate thing to music, and sometimes you have to, and same with football or soccer, there's what is sometimes the right decision for the business is not the right decision for the results on the field, although as we learned from losing in the FA Trophy, if you don't get the right results on the field, it can really hurt you on the business side. So that was disappointing. I know nothing about Brandon other than that he likes marketing himself on YouTube, and an ex of mine has read some of his books. They're not terrible, but I would say he's pretty much the epitome of okay. I've read 3 of his books, and I have to admit I don't really see the appeal. I see the appeal of George Martin. I think he's lost it. I think it's pretty clear. But the first 2.5 books or so of the A Song of Ice and Fire were very good. Very good. They weren't excellent. They weren't Tolkien. Some would say they're not even as good as Arts of Dark and Light. I'm not, I don't have an opinion there. I can't. But, I would say that Thalio says, Sanderson to me is forgettable. Yeah, I mean, the obviously the world building is done well. But I think the characters and the plot are, but especially the characters are not quite as memorable as you might like them to be. So, But how can you argue with his success? He's easily, far and away. It's not even. I mean, there's not even a number two anymore. But here's what's interesting too, and this may or may not indicate something, is given how successful his books are, why is nobody interested in turning them into movies? Well, Ironworker Bear, you came to the right place. Need more fantasy recommendations. Coming to the end of A Sea of Skulls. Well, how have you liked it? I guess what I would say first. I mean, do you like that type of epic, violent, etc., etc.? Yes, Sanderson is the one who wrote the Mistborn books. That I read the part of the first one in that series. I read the one about the kings and the canyons, or they are not particularly memorable, I have to admit. But in terms of fantasy recommendations, I mean, everybody knows my favorite authors in fantasy are Tainith Lee, Tolkien. You've already read Tolkien, I assume. I would hope. And obviously the C.S. Lewis Narnia novels. I personally love Susan Cooper, the Dark is Rising series. It's kind of interesting because I always hated Greenwich. And when I was a kid, I read it several times, never liked it, usually skipped it when I would reread the series. But I really came to appreciate it as an adult. I still wouldn't say it's my favorite book in the series. But actually the same thing about Oversea Under Stone. I didn't really like it as a kid, but I appreciate it a lot more as an adult and as a writer. And of course, when you're a kid, The Grey King is the most emotionally devastating book you've ever read. Even if you were a child of the 80s and survived the animal snuff porn that they used to make us read. It was like, Old Yeller being the classic one, but there was a whole bunch of books that were like, like The Little Red Horse or whatever. I don't even remember the names. Where the Wild Fern Grows, maybe. It was basically, boy loves dog, dog dies. Girl loves horse, horse dies. I mean, if you talk to anybody who's in there, anybody who went to a American public school in the Midwest in the 80s, who's like my age, 52 to 58. Steinbeck. Rachel says, yuck, Steinbeck. Yeah, exactly. It's just all about how can I traumatize the kids? The Red Pony. That's it. Classic Gen X prep work. Yeah. It's kind of funny. You don't hear that much. You hear all these Gen X comedians talking about all this crazy stuff, and it's all real. The whole sending their 7-year-old child across the highway to a convenience store to buy cigarettes. All that stuff is real. All the drink from the hose stuff is real. But one thing you don't often hear mentioned is the horrific nature of all of the books that we were forced to read in like elementary school and junior high. I faintly remember reading in school a story with an old guinea pig who was about to die of old age. The one that gave me the willies when I was a kid was Leninger and the Ants. And it was all about this like farmer down in South America who had a bunch of army ants that were marching over his, going to march over his land, and he decided to fight them off. It's really well written, but it's a terrible story. I mean, I may have, the funny thing is, I may have actually, now that I think about it, that may have actually influenced my becoming a fantasy battle writer. When the ants crossed the moat. Yeah. Yeah, Flowers for Algernon, that was pretty sad. Speaking of my writing, Ironworker Bear says, loving it, epic battles, great character development, eager for a grave of gods. Yeah, I'm actually having fun starting to put the story together for that. It's coming together. So, I mean, I already know how it ends. Obviously, you don't start something this big without knowing how it ends. But it's nice to see the pieces, slotting into place in my head, which they have to before they can come out in as words, right? And then let's see. And then the millennial kid from the second marriage is coddled and spoiled. See, that just does not sound as that wouldn't be proper Gen X animal snuff porn. It has to be like you have to have like a lonely kid, and the animal is his absolute best friend, and he loves the animal more than anything. I mean, it's at the point now where if Space Bunny and I are watching a series or a movie or something, and they just start being positive about something. I mean, when we were watching, for example, we've been watching SEAL Team, David Boreanaz, and it's okay. I mean, I occasionally refer to it as Gray's SEAL Team. Like, I had no idea that the Navy SEALs essentially behave like a bunch of junior high school girls when they're not, on ops, killing people. But it's decent. Characters were good. And the thing is, they did some effective subversion. Especially, it was really effective on a pair of Gen Xers like us, because it's like, I'm going on my last mission. Can't wait to get back to the family. Space Bunny's like, he's so dead. I mean, it was just funny. They prepared a whole generation to be massively disappointed with the world the boomers made. Well, they did. They absolutely did. And so, even the sci-fi short stories were despair porn. Well, I mean, a lot of them, but they were a different sort. I mean, those were all, the world ends in fire sort of thing. I mean, Tanith Lee, what was it, Tears in the Rain? That was definitely an emotionally intense. But see, the difference there is that there's elements of choice and sacrifice and that sort of thing. It's not just like, well, the dogs got rabies. You better put them down. Well, the horse is lame. You better put it down. I mean, it's just so depressing, and to be honest, that might be one reason why Space Bunny and I are a bit irrational about caring for our animals. I mean, we're fortunate, obviously, that we have the option, that we have the choice. Hopefully, we don't know yet. The princess is actually the princess is sprawled out upside down in a very undignified manner on her chair in the corner there. Um, and you know, it was probably not the most economically wise move to, you know, do the full range of treatment type thing that we did. Um, but on the other hand, you know, I'd rather have that than I'd rather not only would I rather have her than like a car or whatever, but to me, you know, it's important to do what you can. You know, I mean, if here these creatures love you more than anything, and you know, offer you their friendship, their heart, literally everything they are. You know, how do you not do what you can? How do you not fight for them, right? And I understand. I'm not at all condemning anybody who's like, you know, has to have a dog put down because of cancer or whatever, you know. Um, I'm just saying that, you know, if you have the ability, if you have the option, I mean, the funny thing is, I'd always like, you know, before I owned my own dog, we grew up with dogs, so you know they were always around, but I never had my own dog. And I'd always said, yeah, well, you know, I don't understand those people that, you know, uh, don't just, you know, let the dog go, dun, 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 as it were. Um, you know, until, you know, Mazie fell ill, and then I understood. You know, then I got it, and so it's. But you know, that whole those whole series of books. I mean, honestly, I mean, Steinbeck's one of the few authors that I would genuinely like to punch in the face. You know, just why do that? And I'm not, you know, I'm a firm believer in painting with all the colors. You guys know that. If you've read A Sea of Skulls, if you've read The Altar of Hate, you know, I'm quite willing to go deep into the dark, right? I probably do it too much. But, you know, there's a difference between going into it with regards to storytelling and just wallowing with it and seemingly taking pleasure in it. You know, Guy de Maupassant has an awful story about a young boy tormenting a horse who dies. I remember when I read it, I stared at the ceiling for 45 minutes, contemplating the awful nature of human existence. Because he did such a good job with the characterizations and the motivations, and just the way that, you know, the kid didn't actually mean any harm. He was just mad that he had to take care of it and he didn't do a good job. And but Maupassant was making a point there, and it was an important point, and he was making it extremely well. You know, I would have to go back and reread, you know, The Red Pony or Old Yeller or whatever to see if I have any thoughts on those books as opposed to just my reaction from having read them as a kid. But I won't. I mean, I just flat out won't. I would no more read those books than I would read The Marquis de Sade. You know, it's just there's nothing to be gained from it. Pillow Vendor says my lab is 17 and 4 months. Steinbeck knew nothing. See, he'd be with me. He would kick. I think Pillow Vendor would loan me a pillow to deal with Steinbeck. Now that you say that, Mumford and Sons is probably the only reason I want to revisit Steinbeck. Um, okay, I barely know who Mumford and Sons is, uh, but uh, I'm assuming they have songs that are that reference him somehow. Um, it would take a lot more than that for me. I think you can rest assured that Castelli Library has absolutely no intention of ever publishing a Steinbeck novel. I'm not absolutely saying we wouldn't. I just have no interest in The Grapes of Wrath or anything else that he wrote. But by the way, one thing I want to draw your attention to is I was very excited about 2 years ago when I was able to tell you that the two shelves above my head are completely full of Castelli Library books. We are not there yet, but we are very rapidly approaching the time when both of the shelves next to those two shelves above my head will also be completely full of Castelli Library books. In fact, if you look, let's see, so you can see that next, above the lion's head, the next book over is The Missionaries. It's a Goatskin Missionaries. And then that is the Goatskin Pride and Prejudice, which just arrived over here. And after that, that's the end of that row, because then we get into the Franklin Libraries. But those are all Libraria, and then above it are library and history. So you can see from the Schio Ergo, or no, Lego Ergo Schio logo, you can see that Thucydides is up there, the two Cambridge Medievals, the Cowhide, Pride and Prejudice. So I think probably 2 more shipments from the States, and we'll have 3.5 rows, and it won't be too deep into, because there's two more junior classics coming, so we might be there. We might be there sooner than we thought. But I'm really looking forward to the day when all the shelves that you can see behind me are Castelli Library. That it's one of the greatest projects that I've ever had the opportunity to participate in. And I think you can tell from the quality of the books that we're doing that everybody involved loves it. I mean, you should listen to the discussions. Joe can go on for an hour about which should be the next Jane Austen book after, or what should be the next Bronte book after Jane Eyre, which should be the next Jane Austen book after Pride and Prejudice. Which are the best ones? What's the best edition? I'm hoping next week to be able to put some images from our Jane Eyre edition up on the Substack. So I think that'll be cool. And I appreciate the fact that so many of you are collecting them along with us. So, hey, Leaf, how are things looking? We've been going for an hour. Do you want to give us an update on the situation in Tampa? Is anyone else here from Florida? I don't mean from Florida. Is anyone else here in Florida? Because this is, of course, the Hurricane Emotional Support edition of the Darkstream. As you may know, I've been working on that whole kinder, gentler, Dark Lord thing. Sam's in Florida. So are you in the path? How's it looking? Are you prepped? Obviously, you have power, so that's good. Not in the cone of concern. That's one, That's a line I'd never really considered for Arts of Dark and Light. A cone of concern. Sandbags and water/dry food. Excellent. Yeah, I was talking to some folks in Tennessee today about the book stuff, and he was telling me that they were really surprised to find themselves in such straits. They had a lot of flooding, major flooding in their area. Fortunately, none of the 777 cowhide sets of War and Peace were damaged. Those are actually going to be shipping out early next week. They're already boxed, slightly ahead of the delayed schedule. And they're working on studies of the Napoleonic Wars next week. So that's exciting. I really want to get up there. That'll stand out a lot too, because kind of light blue like the Dante. But it's not just in the cone, obviously, that is potentially of concern, which is why it's good to hear that folks who are not in that area are still prepared for it. VFM Bear says, Cone of Concern sounds like a second level SJW magic user spell. Indeed it does. Alert Archon. He can get that one into Axe. So, all right. Well, I think we should play the video one more time because I didn't get to see it. Losing power. Catch you on the other side of the hurricane. Let's be specific. On the other side of the hurricane, not on the other, the other side. So, all right. Good luck, Leif. Lots of people praying for you guys. I hope you're feeling properly emotionally supported. Sam, you too. So, indeed. So, all right. Well, let's fire up WoW again, and then we'll call it a day. So, let's see here. Okay, we got to go full screen. We got to find the link that Rachel sent. There it is.
Read my lips, I'm into you, can't resist, you're so hot. Get me into the shade, the spotlight's on, you creep into it, you like it, and just the way that you dance, just the way that you dance. Yeah, yeah, it's enough to love you, baby. Yeah, 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 it's enough to send me crazy. Yeah, yeah, such an angelic motion. Yeah, 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 you know you're made in heaven. The way you walk, the rhythm when you're dancing, every inch of you spells out desire. You're such a rush, the